Welcome to Across the Desk, where we discuss entrepreneurship, small business, and everything in between. That's awesome. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Across the Desk. I'm here today with my first timer. Jason's never sat across the desk from me before. So Jason, well, not in this capacity. Jason Little is my guest this morning, who is the author of Lean Change Management and is a guru of all things getting rid of asshats. And he does a fantastic job going into organizations and giving them the tools and tips and tricks and direction to not suck and be happy. And so what we're here to talk about this morning, Jason, good morning.
Good morning.
Didn't give you a chance to say good morning, did I? Jason's kind of used to me just talking over top of him. So what we're here to talk about this morning is a project that Jason launched back in April. And it's the first time in North America, actually it's the first time in the world that this is happening.
Yep.
And so it's a Happy Melly Exploration Day, which is the first time the global network of Happy Melly is having a face-to-face event with like spotlights and shiny things and everything.
Yes.
So tell them a little bit about you before Happy Melly.
The short version is I started as a developer back in the 90s, and then I got into project management, and then coaching and consulting. So my focus over the last almost 10 years has been in the Agile space, so helping companies adopt Agile practices. So I've been a product owner on a team, Scrum Master, internal coach, external coach, but my focus lately has been more about the organizational change side of Agile.
So why would they want to adopt this wayward child?
Well, things are different than they were, 20 years ago. So functional thinking and trying to optimize, making developers type faster to crank out software faster just doesn't work anymore. So companies are looking for more cross-functional collaboration, how to bring in more innovative ideas to compete in a crowded market, and also to compete with a shrinking customer base. So given that, the push to innovate more creates more competition, and the more competition that gets created, the more desire to innovate more. So you get into this vicious cycle of trying to figure out how to do things faster than your competitors. And a lot of organizations are looking at Agile to try and help them do that.
So there's two questions there. So for a neophyte like me, what would functional thinking actually be? Because it doesn't sound great.
It's things like if we could just get all the requirements written down on paper perfect the first time and then hand them off to a code factory where they would, 100 monkeys on 100 keyboards just cranking stuff out, then everything would work just fine. So, the luxury of spending 6 months to a year writing requirements just isn't feasible anymore.
Just because the tools are that much faster and everybody's able to jump on board, really. So the first, what do they call it? Not the early adopters, the first to market.
Yeah.
No longer has the big advantage that it used to.
Yeah.
So you just said there about innovating faster. So would it be part of it that by innovating faster, you're maybe sacrificing quality?
Not with some of the Agile technical practices that exist today. So the state of technology, the barrier is a lot lower than it used to be. So with the whole mid-2000s push to open source and the creation of tools to make it easier to build and test software is substantially different than when I was writing code. So it's easier for people to learn. It's not as expensive, so you don't need to go and buy a $5,000 Windows or Microsoft Windows license for server technology and stuff. It's with the cloud and technology and new languages, it's a lot easier than it used to be for sure.
So then the flip side of that might be, because we're moving slowly from an industrial age of communication and top-down management into hopefully a more, I think you call it a holacratic vision, would then the sacrifice come? If people have to punch it out faster and faster, then comes the sacrifice of teams, communication, that open, I keep wanting to say communication again, but management is more focused on providing a product rather than building a team and building an organization that will outlast, the latest innovation.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be a yes?
Yeah, sometimes the Agile is used as a bit of a stick.
Mm-hmm.
So people want to bring it in to force people to work longer hours and to work weekends and always be producing valuable software in smaller increments. So sometimes, the people come secondary, which is opposite. So with Agile, the people are supposed to come first. So how do we move away from top-down push and move towards bottom-up pull-based delivery of software? So we're sort of setting the expectation that we'll deliver stuff at the pace that the team delivers versus forcing them into unrealistic schedules and tight timelines and things like that.
So with that negative connotation, the last remark that you made, that can sort of lead us into Happy Melee, because the whole point of Happy Melee is to avoid that,
mm-hmm.
and to give organizations the tools that they need to produce, absolutely, and to innovate,
mm-hmm.
but to not crush people in the process, which I think is probably starting in the 80s and into the 90s is what started happening. People became secondary, and being new and shiny came first.
Mm-hmm.
So with your career in development and coaching and all of that kind of stuff, how'd you get involved with Happy Melee?
I attended one of Jürgen Appelow's workshops probably 5 years ago or so. So he wrote the book Management 3.0, which spawned a bunch of workshops and eventually morphed into what is now the Happy Melee Global Network. So Jürgen uses a lot of the ideas that he's been writing about for, since 2008 to run his own company.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of realized that, software delivery is one thing, bringing in agile practices is another thing. But people should fundamentally want to come to work, shouldn't feel like work. So once I started getting involved in the Happy Melee network, what I do now doesn't seem like work to me at all. So it's just stuff I love doing. So what I liked about Happy Melee was that they're bringing that same messaging, but they're bringing concrete tools and practices and a whole global network of people who could help with leadership, management, technical practices, happiness, remote collaboration. So many different people are contributing to modernizing workplaces that I wanted to jump on the movement.
So would you say that, and we talk about it a lot, but would you say that people tend to shy away? They have a very gut reaction to say you can be happy at work,
mm-hmm.
which is frightening. It's frightening that they are scared of being happy at work. And I spent 20 odd years basically not being happy at work because I didn't know you guys existed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the crazy thing. And I shared on my podcast yesterday with Hazel the moment that you and I had with the very first spark. We're taking off my t-shirt at the hotel, not in public. This wasn't dirty or anything. I was just amazed. I was blown away by the people that were there and the dedication that they had. And it was all about making things better. And I didn't know that could happen. And I've had some great managers, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
But I've had some complete turkeys. Hesitating there.
Thanks for keeping it clean.
In light of Thanksgiving, who just thrive on crushing people.
Mm-hmm.
Fear motivation and that whole stick situation where, do as I say, not as I do. And I had one manager, an executive director, say to me that her motto was control, dominate, F. And she was straight-faced when she said it.
Mm.
And I remember just standing there going, oh my God, what have I got myself into? And that's how she ran everything.
Mm-hmm.
Was how can she crush people?
Yep.
So when I met you and got introduced to the whole Spark thing, it just turned something on me, around me. And now part of my dedication is bringing Happy Melee and all of these practices that I'm learning. And I know squat. In the grand scheme, if you need a visual, Jason's like the CN Tower of all these things we're talking about. And I'm like the little paddle boats that go around the bottom of the CN Tower. That's my level of knowledge. But even having that amount is enough for me to go, yes. yes, this is important. This has to be taught to people. And so now part of my goal, which you and I have talked about, is giving these tools to entrepreneurs so that they start using them from the ground as they scale, or even as a solopreneur. Because it changes the way you engage with clients, and it changes the way you engage with colleagues, changes the opportunities that open up for you, because you see the value of teams and you have the tools to make those teams happen. You know, and actually, I don't think you've seen it, but after reading your book, I don't know if you can see it. You can sort of see it, but that's my Kanban there, which has worked awesome for me because I'm very visual. But those are the kinds of things that Happy Melly Exploration Day is going to be providing for people. Is you're going first, right? I think you're in the lineup. Yeah. So Jason's going first. So we have 3 speakers that are coming on, which is Jason that you're hearing now, and then Lisette Sutherland, and then Jürgen Appelo, say it properly, Jürgen, is wrapping it up. But after each talk, where these experts, you know, CN Tower size experts are going to be getting up there and sharing what they know, there's a workshop. So you're an instructor at Sheridan as well, and I've been an instructor, and it's so hard for people to just sit and listen, which is one of the great things that's happened through Spark, and the great things that's happened with this day is that this is for anybody at any level in any organization that is sick and tired of being sick and tired of going to work and slapping your snooze button 20 times to avoid going. And you can come into this and not only listen and learn if that's how you process information, but then they're going to have you apply it right away so that you have that reinforcement and get you jazzed up. So when you go to work on Thursday, the next day, you're like, yes! So this guy told me about stickies and they're awesome and we're going to use it.
Yep.
So what value do you get out of belonging to Happy Melly? Because you're a funder now of Happy Melly.
Yes. So it's the network. So if someone comes to me with a problem that they have and they want me to come in and do a workshop or training or something like that, and it's not an area that I specialize in, there's somebody in the network that does. So having that network to either refer people or to bounce ideas off of, or to get support for things, because they help with my next book. They help with helping run my facilitator network, and just the connections are outstanding. So there's always a case of 1 degree of separation from some expert somewhere.
I'm just going to bring up the Happy Melly website, because one of the things I don't think either of us have made clear is that this is global. And when we say global, we mean it is massive, the size of Happy Melly. And it runs across the world. So when Jason's problem solving, he can be problem solving with people, golly, all over. I mean, I've seen here, there's obviously Canada, there's Brazil, the US, Netherlands. It says here, choose a country, and the list is massive.
Yep.
So, Cambodia, Belarus, Austria, Egypt. And that's not to say there's necessarily a member in every one of those countries, but there will be.
Yep.
So what value do the members get out of it? Just the same as what you do?
Same. So all the funders provide some benefit to the network. So anyone who's a supporter can get whatever one of the funders or brand owners are offering. So my brand is Lean Change Management. Jürgen's is Management 3.0. Lisette's is Collaboration Superpowers. There's also Learning 3.0, Improv, and there's a whole bunch of products and brands that people who are supporters can get access to. They can talk directly with the funders. They can talk directly with people that are trying these ideas out. So it's much more focused on community building as opposed to what I see with a lot of global or professional organizations, which is you pay your membership fee and you get a webinar every 3 months. These guys get to interact directly through Slack, through email. Everything is open. All of the financials that run the network are wide open and available to everybody, so everybody knows what money's coming in and where it's going, and stuff like that. So it's a big global community, which is awesome.
So it's almost like a happy mentorship situation almost. If you're new, which is very cool.
Everybody's got great ideas. Everybody contributes to the network. There's people that contribute course material for some of our brands and stuff. And there's certain constraints on that. So as a brand owner, if somebody wants to suggest new content or modules for my workshop, then sure, they can create it. And then if it aligns with, my vision of where I want the brand to go, then great. Then they get paid for it. So,
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't see that anywhere. And I think it's phenomenal that this exists, and it needs everybody. It's like Coca-Cola. We need to teach the world to sing the Happy Melly song.
Yeah. The cool thing that I like about it is Jürgen runs the global organization with the ideas that he writes about. So I've met a lot of writers who have, quote unquote famous books, and the stuff they write about, they don't practice at all. I saw one person speak about how his methods, increased engagement in this enterprise organization from, 60 some odd % to 80 something over 5 years. And then I started working in that organization and realized that they gamed the system. They incentivized people to make the scores go up, which is,
that doesn't work.
It's counter to, what's going to happen when it starts coming down. But Jürgen uses these ideas. So he's going to talk about how they modernize performance management and make it fun.
Yeah,
because that's a sticking point for people nowadays. He's going to talk about how he manages the system and not the people. So if he sees a problem, he asks the network, and he asks the system, okay, would it be better if we did this? Because this is what I see. Yeah. But the people who are doing the work and have to live with the consequence of whatever that change is kind of have the final say within a set of his constraints. So he's using these ideas, not just writing about it and pushing out a bunch of theory like a lot of people do.
Which is disappointing, because if you, and this word gets beaten into the ground, but if you're trying to be authentic in what you're providing to people, as soon as that stuff gets found out, I turn off.
Yeah.
Absolutely turn off. And to talk about what you're saying about the change and implementing it and what have you, one of the things that you talked about in your book was the blast radius. Mm-hmm. So Jürgen seems to be very aware of what the blast radius might be when he identifies these problems and tries to make them better, mm-hmm. which is interesting. And for those of you that don't know what a blast radius is, and I'm new to this, so I sound very knowledgeable, but I'm really not. It's anytime you make a decision in an organization, regardless of it's positive or negative, there's a fallout from that. And mm-hmm. you have to recognize making a simple change, which has always frustrated me. I've always been that employee that gets in trouble because I identify that the process is stupid from my perspective, which is not always great, and tweak changes for me, not recognizing that the blast radius for that is the next person who steps into my job mm-hmm. is going to follow what everybody else has been doing. And I had that at a job. I was doing extras for the people that I was helping, and then the next person that stepped into the position couldn't do those things. She didn't have the skill set to provide it. And I didn't stop and think ahead to that. But if, for an example, you implemented through your book, you intimated the lean coffee, mm-hmm. stand-up, mm-hmm. and you had some pushback and some engagement, but you also had to figure out the impact on other members of the team or other departments mm-hmm. when those were getting pulled together. So would that be a reasonable explanation for what a blast radius is?
Yeah, it's kind of, in the traditional change management world, they might call it a change readiness assessment, but blast radius sounds cooler.
I like yours better.
It's sort of like, people want to change something in their organization because it sucks for them, but they don't consider that if I made this better for me, I'm making it crappier for 50 other people.
Yeah.
So the blast radius is about things like, I see a lot of change groups or agile coaching groups that make it hard for teams to get help. So I worked in one organization where this coaching group had, you had to talk to 6 different people from the same department and fill out a bunch of forms just to get help with agile, which is ridiculous. And I know why they're doing it, because it makes their job easier to report on stuff to their stakeholders. But it shouldn't be easier for us change people. It should be harder, because we're there to support and facilitate and work in the white space. That's just the job.
Yeah.
So we're a service function. It's much like I was talking at a Fortune 100 company last week around. They wanted to talk about how do our leadership behaviors need to change. So from the C-level perspective, and senior VP level. And, we had a conversation around, if you want to empower your people, you have to let them walk off the cliff sometimes. And sometimes that means you're going to have a mess to clean up, but sorry about your luck. You're a C-level, that's your job. Your job's to clean up messes. So shut up and like it.
Well, at least shut up and support it. You don't have to like it, but be quiet about it.
Well, that's the job, right? I think people don't realize that, we kind of get into fairness, and it has to be fair and equal for everybody. Well, that's not the case. Being an executive is not an easy job. You've got to play the politics. You've got to sort through the messes. You've got to sort of, feel your way through how to move your organization forward. And with change people, it's the same thing. You're there to help a system change, but you're there to serve it, not to force change on it. So,
which is a huge word, and I've done a lot of research on the value of leadership, and that's one of the things that I really love about Spark and Happy Melly is that it helps people become leaders, but in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And I was going somewhere there, and it's gone off into the ether, but dang it, it was really good. It's we don't want to go too long. We're at about 15 minutes now, but so we'll sum up a few of the key points. So Happy Melly started in order to help people get happy at work, and not in a kumbaya, and I keep using that word, but people do have that gut reaction to the word happiness. And I'm going to try and think of some other ones, because your work doesn't have to suck is what it comes down to. And Jason and I, and I'm sure a lot of people use the word asshat a lot, because you don't have to be an asshat to have a successful organization. You don't have to scare the crap out of your people and not talk to them and not take feedback from them in order to have a successful organization. And that's what Happy Melly and what the work that Jason does in Spark 2017 it gives you the tools to make positive change, to approach your leadership team. If you're an employee, and this event is for everybody, from the C-suite all the way down to the dock worker who wants to not be unhappy at his job, to come out and have those tools, to have those conversations, which is what I get more and more out of reading your book and Johan's book and researching all of this. It's all about conversation. Mm-hmm. It's all about communication. It's all about not going off half-baked. And if you need to call somebody an asshat, then call it in your head and think of a better word to use face-to-face, because you want to facilitate that. Management should want to hear from their employees. Leadership teams should want to know that people are unhappy. I mean, the loss of productivity globally because people are unhappy is in the billions. Mm-hmm. Yep. You work slower. You don't go the extra mile. You don't serve the customer well. There's all these negative things when people are pissed. Mm-hmm. So, I would rather be happy than pissed. Yeah.
And today it's a lot easier to find your tribe. Gone are the days of people staying in companies for 20 years.
Yeah.
There's so much choice. And if you're in a creative and knowledge field, you can work anywhere. Lisette will work from the mountain she's climbing with her remote robot thing.
Jeez Lord.
You can do anything, anywhere with anyone. So you do have choice. Yeah. So you don't have to feel stuck. I worked in one team. We were so miserable. Half the team quit within 2 weeks. Because there's choice. There's, you don't have to put up with a boss who's a bully anymore, and you don't have to, be stuck somewhere where you're not happy. So, it's also becoming, I think, like you said, it's not taboo to talk about happiness anymore. It used to sound hokey. We're a serious bank. We can't be happy here. We deliver, blah, 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 blah. But now they're starting to realize, what? We're starting to realize that companies that focus on actually empowering their people and giving them a good environment to work in, they're leaving us for those companies. So we better get our collective shite together, and or we're not going to have anybody here to build software anymore.
And that's the biggest thing, I think, is that organizations aren't recognizing that and losing out massively. And then, those costs are being passed on to the consumer, which becomes another vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then you have organizations like Happy Melly that are giving them the tools if they'll just pull their head out of their sand and out of the corporate dining room and realize what they need to do. And change, you made a really good point in your book as well, that if the word change is scary, call it an experiment, because then, change implies permanence, and people can be afraid of making a permanent change. However, let's try to have a lean coffee once a week for 3 months. Let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, okay, then, we'll try something else. And I think that language alone really hit me, because if people looked at change, if you look at the opportunity to come to the Happy Melly Exploration Day as an experiment, as an opportunity to learn new things and potentially apply them, even wanting the potential to apply them is enough for you to be at something like this. Or even look up the Happy Melly. It's as simple as www.happymelly.com. Then that's success to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even being open to the experiment is success. Wanting to learn more is success. And, thank goodness for people like you and Lizette and Jürgen, who are willing to both travel, all of you travel around the world doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where did you just come back from? Finland?
No, that's next in a couple of weeks. A couple of places in the States. So I was in Chicago, Minnesota, and San Francisco over the last month.
I thought you just did an international one in the summer. It was around your birthday.
Where was I?
I don't know.
I'm losing track. No, I know. November, I'm doing the keynote for Agile Tampere, and then the keynote for Agile Montreal, and then another workshop. Right, I was in Sweden.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. It's all coming back to me now.
But that's how in demand, that's the great thing. And this is going to be the final shameless plug, is that's how in demand the speakers that are coming to the Happy Melly Exploration Day to teach you, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but they authentically want to share and help people be better, help them be happier. Mm-hmm. But you guys travel around the world doing this. This is not some fly-by-night, just stuck your shingle out and off we go. Mm-hmm. You're all multiply certified and whatever to be delivering this. And the value in a 6-hour window of what you can learn is, I think this is going to be the first one that I'm actually going to be able to sit in for some of it.
Yes.
The Spark, I'm usually
yep.
flying like a little blur, but I'm really looking forward to it. And then December 3rd, you're teaching the Management 3.0 workshop.
Yes.
Do you have your registration up for that? We'll just do a little plug there.
Yep, it's at leanintoit.com.
Which is your business.
Yep. It's probably going to be sold out this week, so I might have to do a second one.
So thank you very much, Jason. I know you have to get going because Jason has a real job other than talking to me on a Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, right?
Most likely.
Turkey Day just throws me off, man. So please check it out. I hope this has inspired you to learn more. If not about Jason, then the whole thing. And the value that you can get out of this is unbelievable. Meeting Jason changed my life. It's changed my business. And it's changed when I eventually have employees, or I'm lucky enough to have employees join me. They're probably going to freak out because I had a kudo board at my business center.
Cool.
I put that up for a while. Yeah, it's going to be all kinds of stuff. But check it out, happymelly.com, or there's the happymellyexplorationday.com where you can meet these guys and register. It's $199 right now. Mm-hmm. And it's next week. It's October 19th. It's a week today.
Yeah.
Ah! Anyway, so we're good. So thanks for joining me, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We will talk soon.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.